Cheers, everybody. This is Nick. Welcome to the Urban Farm Academy podcast. Today, we're talking about farm fusion. And if you listen to us long enough, you're going to hear a bunch of different catchphrases. Sometimes I think we have our own vocabulary that we use, but farm fusion for us really cuts to the heart of the matter of what we're trying to do with all of our work. It's a term that Brandon came up with in the early days of developing Urban Farm Academy. And because both him and I came from a background of taking our farm's produce and services and adding layers onto that to come up with something that was of added value to our clients, it was just a natural extension of us. And we'll dive deeper into some of that as we go along here. And what we're hoping to bring to farming is the combining of industries to meet people where they want to be met. You know, as farmers, we grow vegetables, we grow fruits, we raise animals, and we take the byproducts of that and the commodity of that, and sometimes we just sell that in its purest form. But for others of us that are adding layers onto that, we know that there's a whole nother world that's been opened up, not only for ourselves and our farms, but for our clients and their expectations of what can come from a farm. And oftentimes I think that people kind of get scared away from the idea of putting a commercial kitchen on or adding a delivery service or worried about the back end of things as far as the computers or the accounting goes. And what I want to encourage everybody to think about is that farm fusion in its simplest form is just adding on layers to what you're currently doing. And some of that already happens. You're producing at a farm and you take the time and the effort out to actually go to a farmer's market and halfway meet somebody where they want to be met. Some of you are taking excess harvest and making salsas and jellies and jams and that atypical added value product. And you're not only reducing waste, but you're able to sell something that people can just open up the jar and eat right away. And so we're not asking everybody to go out and buy a food truck right away or put in a commercial kitchen or start an event company. But what we are doing is asking you to put yourself in the shoes of your clients. And the best example I can give is if you're currently farming and you're that person that's going to the farmer's market, you can't tell me that at least once last year, after getting up early and busting your ass all week and going to the farmer's market and going through that, and at the end of the day, packing up only to know that you have to unpack when you get home and get ready for the next day, which is going to start in just a few hours, that you haven't stopped by the burger house or the taco joint on the way home because you're whipped and part two of your day is just now beginning. That's what our clients face. They get off of work, they've been surrounded by bad decisions all day, and they're going to go home either completely gassed out and they're going to throw their feet up, or they're going to go home and have to go to their kids' thing or to their side hustle or their second job. For a lot of people out there, there is simply no time to go shopping on the weekends. And then even if that happens, turn that grocery store visit into something that they have to make from scratch. And even if it does come from a box, they still have to clean up afterwards and guarantee you somebody in that house is not going to be happy with the menu that night. Our clients, just like us, have to deal with schedules that start from very early in the morning till very late at night. And there's currently options, whether that's fast food, a subscription service that comes in the mail, or sometimes just a bag of chips. And all of these options serve the need of compressing time and filling their bellies just so they can make it to the end of the night. All the while adding food miles and mountains of packaging and zero nutrients to an already stressed body. And so we ask everybody that's listening to this is, why can't you be the option? If subscription meal companies can take the step to prep a meal, write a recipe card, and get it to the hands of your clients, what's in your way? Is it the belief that you can't? Are you worried about what people will say if you try a new idea? Is it the upfront cost that scares you? Or is it the lack of not wanting to collaborate with somebody that could do these things for you? There's a whole bunch of reasons to say no. And for a lot of people, that's the answer, and that's as far as it gets. But what we're hoping to do is to show everybody here enough examples of people doing this that you can take the best of what applies to you and your marketplace and start ratcheting up your farm's production. And we're not asking you to go from 0 to 100 right away. We need to get you from 0 to 1, and then from 1 to 5, and 5 to 10, and then scale it up. And the way we do that is we add layers. And as mentioned before, some of you are already adding those layers with canned goods or going to the market or a CSA drop-off or the simple layer of even accepting credit cards. These are all things that separate you from the other farmers. And why we always preach, do not fear any competition here. We want you to be competitive. And through that competitiveness, we want you to share your ideas with the marketplace around you. And you can't do that, again, from your soapbox, but you can do it by your examples of getting a little bit better every week. We're going to talk about these themes a lot here. We're going to talk about making your marketplace better. We're going to talk about you cultivating clients to demand more from the farm. And one of the most important layers we can add to this is hospitality. And my definition of that is taking care of the needs of your guest before the need arises. If your clients are confused about how to get onto your program, we as farmers and producers need to take responsibility for our ordering system. We need to make our offerings clear. We need to address the type of clients that we are making these things for. We need to over-deliver based off their expectations that we set up. We need to be consistent as we grow. But at the end of the day, the most important thing is to actually deliver the things that we say we're going to deliver. If we're going to make it easy for our clients to purchase something of added value from our farms, it has to be great. And for a lot of people, this is not meal prep. This is taking your own spin and your own creativity and finding that hole within the marketplace. And I want to remind you that it's okay not to hit a home run the first go around. You have to have something to base your questions on. You have to have some way to measure yourself and your farm's goods within the marketplace. And sometimes you can't do that on paper. You just have to get out there and try. You also have to experience through doing. You cannot give a 5-star experience unless you've done it for yourself. I've often told new farmers that if you want to sell to the top chefs, you need to go eat at these places just to see what the end user is seeing. And what you'll see is you're going to find opportunities to improve the chef's dish. And yeah, it's scary as hell to knock on the back door of a restaurant and give advice to somebody that does this every day for a living at a high level. But you're also going to find that 9 out of 10 chefs are going to welcome this type of collaboration. So over the last few months, we've spoke to a lot of people within our network, and we've asked them the question of, what does farm fusion mean to you? A lot of these people are very familiar to you if you've been hanging out with us for any length of time. But just to show you that farm fusion is not just my idea or Brandon's idea of how to add value to your farm's goods, but a way of thinking and a business strategy that anyone can incorporate. So we've got 10 examples of 10 answers of what does farm fusion mean to you. So we're going to play those, and then we're going to talk about each one. Up first is Brandon, co-founder of the Urban Farm Academy, founder of Bootstrap Farmer, and founder of the Craven Local Food Market.
What farm fusion means to me is, by combining food and agriculture, you can really get the price that you want for the things that you're growing. And I say that because my tagline at the very beginning, when I started Vegetable, which is now the Craven Local Food Market, was, I want to take a $2 head of lettuce and turn it into a $10 salad. And it's a very simple way of saying that, people aren't looking for just ingredients. They're willing to pay a premium for actual food. So, it's easy to grow a head of lettuce, but at the same time, there's a lot that goes into it, and it can be difficult and risky. And chopping it up, adding onions, tomatoes, dressing, that's not that much harder. It's like 10% extra work compared to all that went into growing it, in my opinion. So when we can take a commodity and turn it into something completely unique, to me, that's fusing two industries together, meeting people where they want to be met with the product that they crave. So that $2 head of lettuce is now a $10 salad. That adds a lot more value to someone's life. And so that's not just farming, that's food. And that fusion, to me, we hear like Asian fusion, Thai fusion. That's blending two cultures together to create, a different kind of meal. But fusing farming with food, or farming with, the wine or spirits industry, that's creating something so unique, but reintroducing people into farming. So to me, that farm fusion concept is a way to reintroduce people into farming in a way that's actually going to connect with them.
So a couple things to note about Brandon's answer is something that a lot of people concern themselves with, is the increased price. But just knowing that with the price increased, the value on the back end that the customer experiences also increases. The trick is to have enough value for that client to come to you, that the price of the service or the goods sold is already paid for in time and ease on the back end of the client's day. Premium value equals a premium price. You'll notice that they start with commodity goods, which is the raw vegetables. And the Craven Local Food Market is internationally inspired to fit a menu that most Americans can easily equate into good meals. Tacos, burritos, pizzas, ramen, Indian food that all highlight seasonal ingredients and can be used over and over again. And next we're going to hear from Michelle Madison of Farming the Future.
It's the perfect term for the entire agricultural industry. So it's not just about taking a $2 head of lettuce and making a $10 salad, but it's fusing all of the industries, all of the different areas that are engaged with agriculture. And I'm a farmer. I'm in the agricultural industry, but I don't sell food. I don't cook it. I don't sell it to chefs. I don't go to markets. I don't do any of that. But I'm a farmer. That's my farm fusion. Somebody who does media in the agricultural industry, that's farm fusion. It's fusing all of the jobs, all of the different industries that relate to agriculture and our agriculture, but isn't the traditional thing that you see as just growing food, taking it to market and selling it.
Now, if you notice what Michelle said, she's talking about ways to be a part of and influence agriculture through what you're already doing if you're not currently in farming. Bringing in skill sets from education, retail, marketing, media, administration, logistics, health and wellness, and the service industry all are a way for you to take a farm product and bundle it up in a way that people are used to consuming. We're facing a labor shortage in agriculture right now, and we don't need more pickers, we don't need more seeders, we need people coming in and shaking up the way things are currently operating. Because the social media is so good at throwing in our face, we clearly have a broken food system. And the only way we can fix it is by doing things different. So by looking outside of industry as to best practices in business and in life, people from other walks of life can give this industry the diversity we need if we're to move forward. Next up is Nathan Cash of On the Acre.
So I think farm fusion is a really incredible topic, something that I hear the words constantly, but I don't spend too much time thinking about. It's this process of fusing two different industries with the farmer, or one industry with the farmer, and you can do it in a lot of different ways. You know, we're here at Ag Tech Week. What are we fusing? Agriculture and technology. But you can also fuse, the concepts of the restaurant industry with the food industry and figure out how to work together in new and creative ways. So basically, farm fusion is taking your own small farm and fusing it with other industries to grow both of your industries.
Nathan talked about fusing technology and agriculture and kind of gives us a look as to how farms could look in the future. He also didn't shy away from collaborations through pop-ups, agritourism, co-marketing, or referrals. On the Acre works very closely with the best chefs in Houston, and oftentimes this isn't just in the back of the restaurant, but other opportunities chefs are using to forward their business and careers. There's a lot of opportunity out there, but we have to keep our eyes open. Next, we're going to hear from Brian Pierce of Fresh Impact Farms, which services restaurants in our nation's capital.
Farm fusion to me is taking high quality products and turning that into something that actually generates even more revenue than it could be. And so there's a couple of ways that you can do that. You can work with specialty products and work with talented chefs to create something that just hasn't been done before. You can look at things like value added products where you're taking every aspect of a crop. So there's certain parts of the crop that are known as the saleable parts of the crop. In today's market, every part of the crop could theoretically be used by somebody. And so making sure that you're leveraging every aspect of that crop for some use. There's definitely a lot of opportunity for things like stems and root systems that we're not really tapping into right now. But I think that when you talk about farm fusion, you're talking about how you bring together different aspects.
Ryan talks about farm fusion by specializing in premium specialty crops paired up with the right people. Notice the reduction of waste is they use the whole crop from tip to root and at every stage of the plant's life cycle. Just a quick side note, last week at a conference, I was there with Jeff Bednar, who's the next person that's going to speak. And the comment was made that, sure, it's nice to sell to these high-end restaurants, but what about the rest of us? And I think what we have to remember that we do need farms servicing the very high end, because that's where change in food is happening. That's where media attention is. And if you can turn on Netflix, you're going to see a handful of shows all revolving around food. All of these are executed at the very highest level by people that are groomed to be in front of the camera. So if we can serve those people, how many more people are made aware of what's going on today's farm? There's dozens and dozens of documentaries out there about farming, both small and industrial, the good, bad, and the ugly. And if we want small agriculture to have a voice, we have to get in and play with those that get mainstream media attention. And while we run the risk of being misquoted, it's a great lesson to learn that you have to control your own media channel. You have to control your own voice and work with people that can help you put your best foot forward. So with that, Jeff Bednar.
So my friend Brandon at Bootstrap Farmer says that farm fusion is when you meld two industries together, farming and something else. And I really like that description. I think it's really fitting. So for us, farm fusion is looking at the tourism and doing agritourism and actually bringing our customers and people out to the farm and giving them the experience of connecting with their food and seeing how things are growing, showing them a little glimpse of what the future is going to look like from our eyes and what we believe is going to happen. I love the farm fusion aspects and the people that are doing value-added goods. They're making pestos out of the things you're growing, I think is great, and then selling that as a $12 item instead of a $3 item. I think you're bringing in the kitchen side and agriculture together. And there's so many different opportunities, like doing conferences and bringing in education and agriculture. That's farm fusion. And it's really it's kind of a nonstop opportunity of what is the skill set you have outside of farming and bringing that to farming together. There's no telling where this is going to go. Farm fusion's the future.
I'll tell you something that Jeff is really good at. Aside from servicing dozens and dozens and dozens of Dallas's top chefs, Jeff excels at promotions on his farm through agritourism, events, experiences, entertainment, storytelling, and inserting himself into food opportunities across North Texas. I don't know of anybody from coast to coast that has pushed the conversation to local food in more directions than Jeff. And that's by showing up and doing every single day, almost in a fearless fashion, to talk to anybody at any time about anything concerning food. Up next is another Dallas operator, Piper from Urban Dirt.
What farm fusion means to me and my culinary gardening business are a couple of things. If you're fusing your farming business, it means you're finding and capitalizing on multiple opportunities. Opportunities to add value to your products for a better ROI, and added value of your business to many different stakeholders. My stakeholders vary. They're chefs, they're restaurant owners, they're property managers, they're other landscape teams on site that I work with. So the fusion that I do is blending small-scale gardening ideas with traditional farming techniques. I'm trying to create a continual and prolific culinary garden product that can be used by chefs as produce, by property managers as a showpiece, by homeowners as an educational starting point. And each of those stakeholders needs me to bend to what their perception is. So my farm fusion is combining my gardens with traditional farming techniques.
Piper is serving a completely different market than a lot of people that I know. Her farms consist of little plots all over town at restaurants, corporate campuses, HOAs, and private gardens. These service points give the people that she takes care of access to small food that a lot of people wouldn't have without this service. So Piper's designing, building, and servicing these small plots all across the city let the chefs play with local food, bring attention to local food, to corporate backgrounds, and allow her to put food in a whole different light and to show how much production can come from a small farm on a concrete pad. Up next is Kate and Joe from Little by Little Farm in Ernle, North Carolina, which is the farm and the farmer chefs behind Craven Local Food Market.
That the starting point is what are we capable of growing, and how can I look to as many different cultural influences or regional influences to create food that is delicious but features the thing that we grew. So instead of saying like, I'm gonna have this Italian restaurant, or I'm gonna have a vegan restaurant, or I'm gonna have this macrobiotic food service. Like, the starting point is, how can we use the most of what we're growing and let that drive the direction of the things that we're making, which means that fusion element, I guess, is that because we're letting the food guide us, we have to have the flexibility to make all different sorts of things, because that availability of the food is a pretty constraining variable. So being able to work broad from there is important, in order to really make sure that we're using as much of what we're growing as possible.
Farm Fusion, to me, through our business, we create a new menu every week. We take inspiration from all around the world as far as recipes and meal ideas go through. And then we also grow a significant amount of the food we use, but we also we get all our meats from other local farmers, and most of our leafy greens and a few other things from the farmers market. And so I'd say, to me, Farm Fusion, seen as what we're doing, is the fusing of our local producers and ideas just, available from throughout the world, and all the recipes and different cooking and cultures that make food more interesting than some of our more basic American meals, that keeps it exciting, and I think a lot of our customers appreciate.
You'll notice how Kate talks about crop, cultural, regional, and seasonal influences guide the menu, and how remaining flexible gives Joe and Kate the freedom to weekly design their menu to what's coming out of their ground, and puts trust in their clients to deliver full meals in a way that they know will be liked. They're working with other farmers for sourcing and turning the whole thing into something interesting for their clients. And next, we're going to hear from Wythe, our good friend and anthropologist who adds to farming from an academic standpoint and helps us understand how we got here and where we're going.
Yeah, so Farm Fusion, as I understand it, which I think is a great term, I think it captures some sort of thing that's happening, again, like some aspect of this new farmer movement, we could call it. Seems to be two different kinds of opportunities. One is a kind of business opportunity that says, let's diversify income streams, let's have alternative income streams and be smart about it, and work with others, collaborate, grow our brand. And so I think that is a natural extension of new farmers entering the space who didn't grow up with a certain imaginary about farmers, live in a rural place, they grow food, someone else comes and picks it up and buys it, and that's kind of the end of the day. Or I drive it somewhere and it goes away. But maybe that story continues on, and I need to keep pushing that story and find collaborations that are going to add value to my product. And that's part of my job as a farmer. So it is that shifting identity of what a farmer means. But I also think it represents an even deeper opportunity to rethink the role of farming. So is farming like other sectors where they produce a good or a service and that's it, and it's about money? Or is it a deeper commitment where it's about land stewardship, community building, and ultimately it's health, nutrition, it's our own bodies. So in that sense, I think Farm Fusion could be, you're working with a chef on products, or you yourself are developing products, and that's elevating your brand, and it's helping sustain your core business of stewarding land, growing plants. It could also be, rethinking business models in other ways. So maybe you're working as an educator. You're having people come visit a farm because it's a cool place to be, and there's a kind of tourism or event aspect, which can, again, have an education component. They're learning something about what you're doing, your stewardship, how you grow the plants that are around you. They're learning something maybe about their own region that they didn't really understand, so it could be about history as well. Maybe they're buying added value products. It's a chance to kind of market to them in a different way. I know I've visited farms primarily to try a craft beer, but then you buy some food. So it's, I don't think that's like the only way to do it, but I think Farm Fusion could mean a couple different things, from products to sort of education to agritourism. I would hope that eventually it also moves to Farm Fusion as a chance to form new collectives where growing food is part of reimagined communities where people are empowered. They feel they have some agency over what they're putting in their bodies and over their own land. And I think that is just being played around with by some businesses. So for example, that idea of if a real estate development has a farm component attached, who's farming and who's learning how to farm? Is that something where residents are getting some power to grow their own food? So sort of like building in a community garden. And is that an opportunity that could be really a great service for a lot of people who want to connect and they want to grow, but they're not exactly sure how to start, and they're not willing, they can't go buy a whole farm, right? But maybe they could participate in that way. And I think increasingly you're going to see this with schools. Schools are going to be looking for ways that, in a sense, not to put it in these very market-focused terms, but they can kind of add value, right? So beyond saying we're going to teach you biology or teach you computers by putting sensors above plants, we're going to also think about all the other things you can do with plants, and maybe we're going to bring a farmer, and the farmer's going to work with the kids, and they're going to develop some kind of learnings that don't fit a traditional classroom model or a traditional kind of woofing, like I'm going to go live on a farm model, but are about that kind of maybe shorter but more frequent touch points relationship, and can develop into ways that a community can really come together and grow the food they want to grow, eat the food they want to eat. So I think Farm Fusion, definitely. I think there's an obvious market opportunity, and then there's a sort of ultimately bigger sort of social opportunity that I'm excited to see people sort of play around with.
I like the way Wythe wrapped this up because it sums up the opportunity that we have to choose. How we diversify our incomes, how we collaborate, how we affect health and wellness, land stewardship, sustainability in business and the environment, mixed in with a little bit of education, can affect our community from multiple starting off points. And as we continue to talk to people in farms and marketplaces across the country, is that there's no right or wrong answer. There's simply listening to your gut, having a little bit of faith, and finding that place within the marketplace that you can serve. These ideas apply to meals, services, bath and body care lines, collaborations with chefs and caterers and bakers, the opportunity to teach, the opportunity for social work, and turning food art forms into something everybody can enjoy. It can be all the way on the very high end to a simple popsicle you sell to a kid at a farmer's market. There's no limitations, and there's really no limit. Farm Fusion is a set of frameworks that guides all of the work at Urban Farm Academy. We have a lot more resources at urbanfarmacademy.com and on our YouTube channel. And again, we're trying to highlight as many people as we can that are doing this to give you your own inspiration. Really appreciate you listening in and watching the videos. It's been a lot of fun to get this up off the ground. If you like what's going on here, the only thing we can ask you to do is to share this with somebody else and take a couple of seconds to leave a review. And if there's something you think we need to know about, you can contact me at admin@urbanfarmacademy.com or DM us at the Urban Farm Academy on Instagram. Looking forward to working with you in the future. And thanks again for checking us out. This podcast was brought to you by the Urban Farm Academy and music provided by Random Rab. We'll see you next week.